something I think prominent that happened. I went on a meditation retreat and did the longest silence retreat I've ever done. Something called Vipassana, Vipassana here, which is like a Buddhist meditation technique. And I did a 10-day silence retreat there. So yeah, I've just come back from that, like I think half a month back. So that's something major that happened.
So let me ask you, so for 10 days, you do not say one word?
Yeah. No, not you're not allowed to make eye contact with people, speak with anybody at all, even read anything. They keep your reading material, your phones and all of that is, deposited the moment it starts. It was nice.
If you want or need anything, how do you ask for it?
They have some called like they would put out a box outside in the common area, where if you really needed something, you can write it on a piece of paper and just drop it in the box and then try and arrange it for you. But other than that, yeah, it was better if you did not speak at all.
So, for example, the one thing that comes to my mind, toilet paper. If you needed to get toilet paper, how would you get some?
Yeah, we don't use toilet paper here. We have water faucets. We use water, and it's very it's far away from luxury of sorts like this. Any kind of if my room just had like a bed and a couple of lizards, and it was like in a jungle of sorts, and yeah, it was even the washroom did not have like lights. It was that basic. So it was the idea is that you live like a homeless person for some time, like the very absolute basic minimal things.
So many questions blowing up my mind right now. Okay, let me just start with one. So what do you do during the day? What did you do to fill your days?
Oh, it was all I've done like many other retreats like this, different organizations here. I've done a couple with Art of Living. I've done it with others, but this was like the most difficult one I've ever been to. So it was just, you would just sit down in meditation almost the entire day. So it was nothing else, almost the entire day.
But Mayank, you obviously have to work up to this, because that has to be so difficult to like, I've changed my life quite a lot. I mean, you and I have discussed aspects of Hinduism, and we've discussed aspects of mindfulness and stuff like that. And I'm not good. Like I do fill my head or my space with stuff, probably just because my life is about to change. I'm trying to study. I'm really actively trying to get residency in Canada now, and that can be a little bit stressful after so many years of trying. And so you sort of, in order not to get the fear in me of the failure that I had in the US, and in order not to feel scared that it may not work out the way I wanted to, you kind of distract yourself a little bit. I mean, when I walk, I don't have music in my ears. I try to listen to the birds, but my head is filled with thoughts, and so it does do that. But I've been better before. But I'm assuming you have to build up to it. You have to have relatively good grasp on meditation to spend most of your day in meditation.
Yeah, I think people who go there with the mindset that they would be able to do it, because it's free of cost. They don't take money up front. They take donations by the end of the course during the last day, and that's voluntary. But on email and things like that, they'll confirm many times. Like they'll check with you, are you sure you really want to do this? Like it's very difficult, and people back out. It's you have to be
reading emails, text messages, social media is not. I do it because I'm a writer. I need to write. I need to build my portfolio. I need to put certain content up to keep a certain level of followers so that I can be successful in the future. I enjoy writing. But if for 10 days I couldn't access any of this. Yeah, you'd have a little bit of withdrawal at the beginning because we're so used to reaching for our phone. We're so used to that stimuli. And I'd probably struggle a little bit to fall asleep at night without some form of, I don't watch TikTok videos and something, but I usually have something playing, just some low level noise. And so this would be difficult to at the beginning, but I could go without any form of tech for 10 days. But I would need a pen and paper to write, or something to read potentially, or go on long walk. I mean, I do not have the like to sit in meditation constantly for 10 days. That would be difficult for me.
Yeah, it was really difficult for me as well. I mean, it's the property has like, because it was in the jungle, you can walk around the property, but that was only for about like half an hour in a day. But most of the time it was
because you were only allowed to walk around for half an hour in a day, or you would get bored walking around for half an hour.
No, we were only allowed to walk for half an hour. And that was like after evening snacks, they would just like let us walk for half an hour. Then the bell rings, then you'd have to go sit down in meditation again. It was extremely, extremely difficult. For the first few days, it was just, I felt like my mind was coming for me. I felt like leaving my phone, not having any sort of entertainment, anything to write, read was the easy part. And leaving my phone was the most easiest thing because, I've deleted Instagram accounts, I've deleted social media, I've left social media for months on end. So that was easy, but it was just like being with my thoughts for so long. That was the difficult part. And I think it was fourth or fifth day. It was when I could not sleep at night. For the first few days, I could not sleep. At 4 o'clock, they would ring this huge bell that would just, it would wake me up like in a condition of, in a shock, of sorts. And I did not sleep the last night, but I decided that I'm going to do 10 days, no matter what happens. And I don't think...
You said on the fourth or fifth day, you settled into it better.
No, I think I struggled most. Though I think fourth day, I was like, I'd had enough and I can't do this. Every single problem, any thought, after sitting for so long, it was just like, it was not any new thing that was bothering me. It would be like one thought and I would keep spiraling down into that thought, and it became extremely difficult. But yeah, I think overall I'm not sure if I'd call it it was worth the time. I think the practice was, if I keep at it, which I've not been able to, it can be a really profound practice because you sit down with your thoughts, and I was able to look at the patterns. I was able to look at how my brain was sort of coming at me. So yeah, it was like, it's supposed to be much longer. Like the entire practice, it is taught in Buddhism. It's usually, in the older days, it used to be for 60 days you'd sit like that. But then they had to shorten it, keeping today's time in mind and the speed of life in mind. So they've boiled it down to sort of like 10 days. But it was an okay experience. It was not an absolute profound experience, but
But would you do it again?
Yeah, if I have 10 days again, sure, why not? Why not?
So even though you struggled with it and you had the same thoughts that kept plaguing you, you would do this again. You got enough out of it that you would do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd do it again.
But were there rules? Like for example, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put myself in that situation to try and imagine how I would potentially handle that situation. And love walking. So I would need to be able to walk a considerable amount, or be able to get up and walk and move more. And like, were there rules? You had to be sitting in a meditative pose. Could you lie down on your bed for 12 hours during the day if that's what you wanted to do?
No. There were rules. I mean, unless you were you've fallen, ill or something like that, there were no exceptions. You would have to sit down in the meditation pose, or at the very least, keep your eyes closed. You were not supposed to move a lot. There were 3 times during the day where you were not supposed to move a muscle. So that was, you could not change your leg. You cannot adjust pose. You could not do it. It was not like, somebody had like a metaphorical, akin on your head or sorts. Like, you cannot do it, but they'd advise you not to do it. So,
Okay, so but if you did do it,
nobody did it like that. Everybody sat there with their eyes closed. So these are, see, one thing is that these are serious people who really want to understand about
right,
themselves.
right, and I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that this is an advanced level thing, whereas you need to be an active meditator by this point. By the time you go onto something like this, you should be able to sit in meditation for an hour or 2 hours in your general life. For somebody like me who never does meditation, I do yoga 3 times a week. At the end of yoga, when you are in Shavasana pose, that's the closest to, that's a meditative space. My mind still runs wild. So I got to a pretty good stage where I was meditating 15 minutes, I think even up to 30 minutes a day, but I lost that a while ago. And because my life is just so crazy, I should be able to get it back. I just don't have the strength to get it back. So I'm assuming that these people are all very far advanced in the art of meditation.
Yeah, not, I wouldn't say really far advanced. Like I can do like an hour or maybe 2 hours. It was still very difficult for me. But yeah, you should ideally, they'd take you if you apply, and they'd allow you to come. The interview process is fairly simple. They would ask you a couple of times if you're really serious about this. Outside of that, they'd take you. And there's something about the environment when everybody is sitting like that. Your leg would hurt tremendous. Your body would ache, and you would want to quit within a day or two. But if you endure that, there's something, the body, it sort of adjusts after the 5th day of sitting for those hours. After the 5th day, the body gets used to it. My legs started to hurt a lot lesser than it used to. And I think after the 7th day was just, it was much easier. Like I would sit down for hours and my legs would not hurt. And even sitting down for 2 hours for couple of sessions, like after 2 hours there'd be a 5-minute break, then 1 hour session, then 5 minutes break, then 2 hour sessions. I knew even if I'm not meditating, I can at the very least sit with my eyes closed. I just try to look at my thoughts, and that becomes entertaining after, at some point it becomes entertaining to just sit down with your thoughts. And that's because there's no other stimulus, nothing else. Just looking at your thoughts your dreams become very vivid. Your thoughts become vivid. I was able to imagine in color.
That's amazing. I'd like to be able to go on a writer's retreat. That's something that I would, just even my own designed writer's retreat, like just be able to sit in a cabin on a lake for 2 months and just walk, cook healthy food, swim in the lake, light a fire on a few nights, and write. That is just absolute paradise to me. That's nirvana to me right now.
I'd love to do that as well. Yeah, with the job and everything, it's about impossible now. With the COVID almost gone.
But it's just, it's just like you've got to pay your bills. And, I'm going to be studying next year. So, I'm in Mexico now because this gives me a chance to save some money. And so I've been working ridiculous hours to try and save money towards my tuition. And so, like, if I went back to, like, I'm going back to Canada in 10 days. If I walked into my little local pharmacy and bought a lottery ticket and won $100,000, not even $1 million, $100,000, I would very much pay my entire tuition. And then I would probably take one of my friends who I know could seriously do with that type of thing. And we would probably get on extremely well together and respect each other's space. And, I would just tell her, find us a lakefront cabin and I just rent it and just be for a couple of months.
Yeah, that's sounds amazing. Well, what are you planning to study?
Gerontology.
What's that?
It's the study of aging and aged care. The course is just 8 months. It's a year's course, but I couldn't get into the September intake. I was too late to apply as an international student. So I start in January and end in August. And it's the mental health consequences of getting old, problems, that physical problems, the dementias, the diseases, the disorders, how to manage them, what they cause. Thanatology, which is the study of how to deal with people that are getting closer to death, how to be around people who know they are going to die, how to be with their family members, or that have just lost someone. So all of the essential information to be able to work in a aged care environment.